Audio test, audio test.
All right, so at this point in time, would the secretary please start on recording of the meeting?
Yes, meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, and I'd like to call this regular meeting of Planning Commission on December 14th, 2020 to order. Before we get on with the business of today, I'd like to introduce our new commissioner, Miguel Calderon. Miguel, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Look forward to working with everybody here as well.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to let you, Miguel, do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Awesome. Okay, my pleasure. All right, if everyone could please stand, put your right hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Yes. Commissioner Calderon.
Present.
Commissioner Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Here.
Commissioner Nguyen. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Here.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now I would like to invite you, the Secretary, to describe the way the public can access this virtual meeting.
Thank you, Chair. This meeting is being live streamed via YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana Video/live and to our website at www.santa-ana.org/cc/city-meetings. While the meeting is in progress, the public may provide a comment by phone. To comment by phone, please dial 1-669-900-9128, enter meeting ID 315-965-149, followed by the pound. When prompted for a participant ID, just press pound. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, please dial *9. When the comment period is opened, I will call on you by the last 4 numbers listed on the caller ID. After you are called upon, you must press *6 to unmute yourself. After you have unmuted yourself, please state your name, your position on the matter, and your comment. You will have 3 minutes. I will alert you when your time is up. Back to you, Chair.
Okay. Moving on to public comments on non-agenda items. Madam Secretary, does anyone wish to speak on a non-agenda item at this time?
If you'd like to comment on a non-agenda item, please dial *9 now. I'll wait a couple of seconds to see if we have anyone. There are no speakers, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. With that, we will close the public comments on non-agenda items, and we'll move on to the consent calendar. Moving on to the consent calendar, I'd like to have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last commission meeting.
So moved. Cynthia?
Cynthia, okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Tom Marcy, do we have a second? Okay, Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote of the minutes of the last Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Commissioner Calderon.
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia.
Commissioner Calderon, he needs to abstain himself because he was not at the last meeting.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. So I'll mark him as
I
abstaining. Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Aye.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes with Commissioner Calderon abstaining and Commissioner Nguyen absent.
Okay, and then the next item, item B, at this point in time, request that we approve the absence of Ken Nguyen at this time. We have a motion and a second. I'll motion. Tom is a motion to
Second.
second
Norma.
Cynthia. Norma,
Okay.
sorry, Norma, thank you. So we have Tom Morrissey and approve and second from Norma. All those in favor, Madam Secretary, can we just have a roll call on that?
Yes, roll call for the absence of Commissioner Nguyen. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen. I'm sorry, he's absent. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Aye.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. This is the end of the consent calendar. Moving on to the business calendar, public hearings. With regards to public hearings, I'd like to review protocol. I will now review the process for the public hearing so that everybody knows what to expect. Staff will provide a presentation and answer questions from the Commission. The public hearing will then be opened. The applicant will be given an opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will be given the opportunity to comment, limited to 3 minutes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to the comments made by public, limited to 5 minutes. Public hearing will then be closed. Discussion will return to the Commission with formal action taken to approve, conditionally approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. A, please state your name and address. B, state whether you support, oppose, or are neutral on this proposal. C, your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Avoid gossip, emotion, repetition. A clear and concise, non-repetitive argument is most effective. It's at this time and place I would like to consider item number 1 for the property located at 4111 South Main Street. Please note that any decision on this matter is final unless appealed within 10 days by an interested individual or party. Before we begin, do we have any commissioners at this point in time that would wish to disclose with regards to this item? Madam Secretary,
Yes.
can you do? Okay, go ahead. Who is this?
Go ahead and do the roll call. Sorry.
Okay, let's do a roll call on that. I'm going to start with Commissioner Calderon.
Aye. I'm good.
No, do you have anything to disclose?
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
That's okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah, first meeting. No,
First meeting, you're allowed. You're good. All right, Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, this is Commissioner Garcia. I own a townhome in the coverage gap identified by the AT&T exhibit to the staff report. And so out of an abundance of caution, I will recuse myself from discussion on this item and will return when the clerk calls on me. So thank you.
Thank you for doing that, Norma, and we will have 5 people at this point in time to deal with. Thank you, I appreciate that.
I'll hang up now.
Commissioner-
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Morrissey. Nothing to disclose. Thank you. Commissioner Contreras, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Nothing to disclose.
I have nothing to disclose myself, so having said that, staff, and I guess it's Fernando, you're going to be discussing this at this?
Yes, thank you. Fernando.
Fernando.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. For discussion tonight is conditional use permit number 2020-19 and variance number 2020-4 for a new wireless facility, and it's located at 4111 South Main Street. The site is located at the southwest of the Sunflower Avenue and Main Street intersection. It is to the south of the site is City of Irvine and City of Costa Mesa. These are some site photos that show the site as it appears today. The left is a photo of the site looking east from Main Street, and the right is looking west from the 55 freeway. This slide shows the site plan of the project. The new wireless facility and its equipment enclosure will be located on an existing Southern California Edison substation, and it's adjacent to the 55 freeway. This is an illustration and a photo simulation of the west elevation of the monoeucalyptus. These are the propagation maps. The left shows coverage of the facility when it's at 60 feet tall, and the right map shows coverage of the facility at 80 feet tall. The facility at 60 feet tall still shows cell coverage in Santa Ana. Approval of a conditional use permit 2020-19 for a 60-foot tall wireless facility would benefit the community by providing cell coverage in the adjacent neighborhood. In contrast, the variance approval for an 80-foot tall wireless facility would visually impact the aesthetics of the neighborhood. However, as I mentioned, approval of a conditional use permit for a 60-foot tall wireless facility would provide the necessary coverage in the city of Santa Ana. We request that the applicant contact owners of nearby high-rises, and they did not provide sufficient information stating an actual effort was made. Exhibit 9 and 10 on the staff report show the applicant's site analysis and height justification. The height justification shows they want to have a wireless facility at 80 feet to overpass the freeway, the 55 freeway overpass. However, as you saw in the propagation maps, the 60-foot wireless facility still shows coverage in the city of Santa Ana. Alternative designs and sites were suggested to the applicant, and they would accommodate the applicant's request and meet city standards. For example, to the north of the site, there are locations, there are high-rises and parking structures that the applicant could have used for co-location. The nearby properties are located north of the site. It's on Hutton Drive. With this, staff recommends approval of conditional use permit 2020-19 as condition and adopt a resolution denying variance 2020-4.
I'd also like to make a clarification that the resolutions make a mention of a monopine. However, the project is a mono eucalyptus, and the resolutions will be revised to match the staff report. At this time, I am available to answer any questions.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have a question of staff? We'll start with Commissioner Calderon. Do you have any questions of staff?
I have a question. Okay, so for this project, who is the one that's going to be so I hear background noise.
Whoever's on the line, can you please ensure that your YouTube volume is turned down to reduce any feedback? If you're watching YouTube, please ensure that it's turned down so that we do not have feedback. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I just have a question. So I live around Madison Park, and I know that they actually installed one of the cell towers there as well. And there was some, community backlash towards, there being a cell tower up there. So my question is this tower that's going to be posted, is there going to be any, revenue coming out of it for the installation of it, or is it just stationary, just for better coverage? Could I get some more information in regards to this, please?
Fernanda?
Hi. This cell phone site will provide better coverage in the city of Santa Ana.
The one that I'm talking about in Madison Park? Yeah.
Commissioner, this is Ali. Just to clarify your question, are you inquiring about this specific site or the site in Madison Park, please?
I'm asking in regards to this specific tower that's proposed. Is it going to be generating any income towards to the community or to the city? That's my question.
Thank you. Because the site is located on non-government owned property, the city is not going to be collecting any sort of revenues from the operator. But the city will, of course, just like any other project, collect one-time permit revenues from its installation, but won't collect any ongoing revenues as if it were like at a city park or something.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. That's my question.
Okay. Commissioner Morrissey, do you have any questions? I don't have any questions at this time. Vice Chair Contreras-Leo?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions at this time, but might have something as we listen to some of the input from the developer. Okay, since there's no questions of staff at this point in time, I would like to open up the public hearing. And would the applicant like to speak at this point?
I believe the applicant prepared a statement. I'm not sure if he's here. Tyler, are you here?
Just one moment, Chair. I know the applicant did want to speak. I spoke with him earlier this afternoon, so just one moment.
Okay,
Let us double
that's fine.
check. Okay, Tyler, are you on the line? Please press *6 to unmute yourself. Is that him? I asked to unmute.
I did.
Okay. Tyler, please press *6 to unmute yourself. You are currently muted. There you go. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I do have a few things to say. First of all, thank you, Chairman and Commissioners, and also thank you, Fernanda, for working with us to get the project along this way and provide the presentation this evening. I do have a few items to go over, both from the presentation and the staff report, which I'd like to refer to as I go through those points. Does everybody have the staff report that was prepared in front of them?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very well. So to begin, I just want to give you a bit of background about how AT&T and us representing AT&T start developing a site. This is a site to fill a gap in coverage, or it has a coverage gap. So my job really starts with a search ring, which is a circle on a map. AT&T supercomputers generate this map. It's really based on calls, user data, all coming from surrounding towers and customer complaints from drop calls or poor coverage. Especially at a time, COVID-19, where people are at home more, working from home more, using wireless services at a higher demand. The community, both residential and commercially, are at a benefit when there is a gap that is filled by additional wireless coverage. So in this instance, approval of the variance in CUP is good not just for the city, but also for the surrounding community working from home at greater rates, taking up more of that bandwidth, which is why the cell tower here is especially needed at this time. So after we've assessed this search ring, we look at the jurisdiction of the municipal code, the related wireless communication facility ordinance, then look at the preferences, the requirements of that code, and I couple them with my preliminary conversations with planning staff and begin contacting property owners. As the demand for that coverage increases, our search ring gets smaller. So there's more people trying to use the existing towers, and then more people are there now. So I've got to put additional towers to fill coverage gaps because there's more people using internet services and wireless services in a smaller area. So from there, we take a look at surrounding AT&T sites and see, okay, well, where can we place a new site that will fill this coverage gap? And I refer to page 1-47 of that staff report. You can see the surrounding towers in the general area. All those little blue triangles, that represents an AT&T existing facility. So we've got to find a location that can serve to provide the coverage for the coverage gap area. In this case, those areas are defined further on in that same report on page 1-43. I list the AT&T's coverage gap area for the surrounding community, both the residential community directly north of the tower and the commercial facilities south and then east of the tower as well. So from there, we assess where we're going to place this tower, and then, okay, well, what does the jurisdiction say? There's a list of preferences. Can we go here? Can we go in the park? Can we go, across the street at the school? Can we go in a commercial zone? Typically, and in the case of Santa Ana, there's a preference for rooftop locations and then also co-locations. In this instance, we're unable to find a rooftop location or a co-location that can fill AT&T's coverage gap. We did an exhaustive year search for a rooftop site in the nearby area, and I can refer you to Exhibit 10, that's 1-52. This is our alternative site analysis. Specifically, if you look at 1-54, you'll see the various buildings in the area that are high enough to fill AT&T's coverage gap that we pursued, tried to develop a relationship with the landlord of, and would meet the city's zoning code. However, in all cases, we were unable to move forward and find a willing landlord. There's evidence of this, which is somewhat contrary to what was discussed in the presentation. And I would refer you to pages 1-64 through 66, just demonstrating AT&T's attempts to reach out and do business and develop a site on a rooftop of an existing building. That'd be Experian and a few others, the Marriott specifically. But due to management preferences, leasing, and a few other items that I could elaborate further on if you'd like, we were unable to find a willing landlord and candidate. So we then moved to the SCE, so the Southern California Edison Substation, and our initial proposal was to build a 120-foot utility pole. This site is next to almost 200-foot SCE overhead towers with the utility lines coming off of them, tall trees, and then that freeway overpass. So our proposal was to blend in the surrounding area, put up a utility pole to match the existing very tall utility poles there. Staff felt that a tree would be better, and we lowered the height to 80 feet, which is the purpose for the variance. So, with the surrounding trees being comparable, this one is slightly larger, but there are taller, I wouldn't call them buildings, but they're towers and similar structures in the very surrounding area to what we're proposing this tower. So I just want to make sure that's noted, and that's also something you can see if you take a look at the photo simulations in the staff report. And those photo simulations are available. I recommend 1-33, and then also 1-31. You can see the heights of the surrounding trees, the proposed mono-eucalyptus or broadleaf tree. AT&T is proposing at 80 feet in that picture, and I feel it's consistent with the height of the surrounding trees and also those poles in the background. There are not a lot of residents in this surrounding area directly near the tree. I don't think it's going to obstruct anybody's view shield. It's just going to provide better coverage for the community, and I'm sure everybody in the community with AT&T would benefit greatly from that and feel the same way. A few other areas just in regards to locations that we did pursue north of the SCE substation on Main. There's a park there owned by the city. It's not the preference of the city for wireless communication facilities to be in parks of that size. Let's see, and then there's a few other points I just wanted to touch on. Just as to what we do when we look for a site, and I'll call them the 5 ABLEs. It has to be zonable, leasable, RFable, constructible, and regulatorable. So I've got to find a zoning with the local municipality or the local jurisdiction in their ordinance code that says, hey, you can build this here. Leasable, I've got to find a willing landlord, and then RFable, the RF engineer has to be able to say, this will fill our significant gap in coverage, which is the reason for the issuance of the search ring and the reason I'm speaking to you here today to develop this site. Construction has to say, yes, this meets our standards of what we can construct reasonably. And then regulatory, meaning the environmental regulations and extensive other regulatory commitments that AT&T has to meet in order to develop the site, whether it be NEPA or any other environmental or local, federal, state regulatory requirements that need to be met in order to develop the site. So after all of those are taken a look at and said, okay, this is an option for AT&T, we can move forward. In this case, this is the only location in the surrounding area that we were able to find that met those 5 ABLEs. And a height at less than the 80 feet would not fill that significant gap in coverage. I know that was referred to in staff's presentation. However, if you do see some of the exhibits we provided from RF engineers that went through AT&T legal counsel to verify and make sure that everything we're saying is accurate, is demonstrated. And I'd refer you to a statement made by AT&T RF engineers on page 1-43 through 1-46. This is the radio frequency statements, basically summarizing. It is required to have a tower at this height to fill the gap in coverage. And I would point to slides 1.1 first of the radio propagation maps before and then after, and then the one at 55 feet. The one at 55 feet, you can see the community to the northwest. That's the residential homes. So, as I said before, more and more people here are working from home now. That is not served at a height of 60 feet. I know it says 55 on the slide. 55 is the res, and that's where the antenna level is. It's usually a little bit lower, so we can provide ample stealthing and coverage for the actual antennas themselves with the branches. The slide directly above that, you can see that community is now served by the additional 20 feet, or the variance that we're asking for, total tower height of 80 feet to that same area. So that community is now served by the tower at a greater height. So yes, the community to the east, or the side to the east at a lower height, isn't served as well given the height, and there's an obstruction of the up-through overpass, but the gap in coverage, which is part of what I'll get to next, is not filled. If you look at the two comparisons on 1-49 and 1-50, showing basically a tower height of 60 feet and then a tower height of 80 feet, or 75 and 55 antenna level. And so, after I've gone through, I've found this site and I've shown here's where I can build this, given those 5 ables I went over. I've got 2 pillars of that I've got to prove that I meet, and that those are a significant coverage gap, and then I'm using the least obtrusive means to fill that coverage gap. So in this instance, this is the coverage gap, and it's also demonstrated by the RF statement, and then the least intrusive means, meaning that I've shown that there's no other design that would work given the zoning code, the preferences of staff, and the city to be able to do that. And in this case, I think we've done that. So I'd just like to, I guess, ask that you consider the items that I've gone over when considering to either approve or deny the variance, and I'm happy to answer any questions and further explain the information I went over.
Okay, let's start with Commissioner Calderon. Do you have any questions of the applicant?
I do not have any questions at this time. Thank you for providing a short report.
Commissioner Morrissey?
No, I don't have any questions this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Nguyen, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Nguyen.
Good to hear from you, Commissioner Nguyen. Go ahead. Do you have any questions?
Connecting it. Finally got it. Okay. I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
No questions, and thank you for the thorough presentation.
Okay, I'm good too at this point in time. So thank you for the presentation. What we'll do is we'll open this to comments from the public. At this point in time, Madam Secretary, do we have any?
Yeah, can I just make just one last, closing remark here, just for the commissioners and chairman. That is, yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that we have demonstrated, the significant or provided significant information regarding other locations that may not be possible. In this case, there aren't others, and that this is a significant coverage gap that wouldn't be filled at a height less than 80 feet. Further on in the report, it does speak about, if a height of 80 feet wasn't approved with the variance, it would, in essence, be an effective prohibition claim against the Federal Communications Act. And so AT&T would look to, pursue this further and obviously appeal the decision for it to be denied for the height of 80 feet tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your comments. Madam Secretary, have we received any written communication on this item?
No communication has been no written communication has been received.
Okay. Do we have any public comments that we have? Are there any public comments at this point in time?
If you'd like to speak on this matter, please dial *9 now. I'll wait a few seconds. There are no callers, Chair.
There are no callers. Okay, having no callers at this point in time, we will close the public hearing and we'll bring it back to the commission. Okay, with regards to the commission, let's just go through. Commissioner Calderon, do you have any questions or comments or a motion?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Morrissey.
Yes. I am wondering, so staff is recommending that we deny the 80-foot height due to impact to surrounding structures. Have we received any input from surrounding businesses or residents that would be an issue?
Beth?
We would be approving conditional use permit for 60 feet. That's what the code allows us. That's what the code allows the height to go. In regards to denying the variance, we did not make the finding that the extra 20 feet are required because at 60 feet, the wireless facility fills the coverage in Santa Ana. I think the applicant is requesting the extra 20 feet to fill the gap in the city of Irvine and the city of Costa Mesa. And in the site analysis provided, they indicated that the 80 feet were required to overpass the freeway. However, it looks like the freeway height is at 55 feet. So I don't think the 80 feet is necessary. He's asking I don't think we have any community input. I think this is just regarding the code.
Let me, okay, so Commissioner Morrissey, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Nguyen.
No question. Thank you.
Vice Chair Contreras-Leon.
So is staff saying that because of the visual aesthetic impacts, the intrusion is because of if it were to be 80 feet in height?
That is correct.
And do we have any of the cell towers at 80 feet in the city?
We have approved variances at 80 feet. However, they have been for co-location. And there is three locations that were approved for variance, but they were all approved for co-locations. This would be a brand new tower.
So they were just renewals for while we've been on the commission, the others?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So the cell towers that were at 80 feet that are already approved, when they came to us, was it just a renewal of their contract?
No.
So has this commission voted on an approval for another 80 feet towers since we've been on? Let's just say since I've been on the commission.
Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
No to, I just want to be consistent.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm sorry, Chairman, were you going to say something?
No, you're good. Just, I was, no, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I believe in the time that, to answer your question, Vice Chair, I don't believe the city has approved any variances for additional height since the time that you've been on the commission. The times, just to add a little bit of background information, the times that the commission has approved additional height above 60 feet was, as was Fernanda was describing, for co-location, which is when a tower would have multiple arrays for multiple carriers on them. And therefore the additional height was needed and justified because a single tower would be providing coverage for multiple cell phone company carriers. In this project's case, the applicant is proposing the additional height, but for only one carrier at this time.
Okay. And thank you, Ali. Unfortunately, the feedback, the bounce back from Fernanda's phone is not good, so it's really hard to understand. So thanks. That helps me now that I can hear clearly.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Petrosley, any other questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Ali, Fernanda, a couple questions I have. I mean, first of all, you know, the fact that this is in a location that happens to be very close to Irvine and very close to Costa Mesa, but it's in Santa Ana. You know, I think that when it comes to cell towers and everything related to cell towers, unfortunately, they're not necessarily territorial from the standpoint of city boundary lines. They're territorial from the standpoint of coverage that you can get at with certain capabilities. So the fact that it shares multiple cities, I don't see that as a real issue. You did in fact state that there are other 80-foot towers or towers that could be even higher than 80 foot. I don't know whether that's a fact or not, but there are other 80-foot towers that are located, but they share multiple carriers. I'm not sure if that's a criteria or not that we should necessarily consider as a reason for not allowing to go a certain height. Because I don't think we set the guidelines and say, you know, from a city point of view, do we sit there and say you can't have an 80-foot tower if it's solely used by one carrier? Does it say that in our municipal code, or, you know, if it's multiple carriers or single carriers, what difference does that make? Because they're making the investment, the carriers are making the investment in the towers themselves, are they not?
Chairman, thank you for your question. So to provide a little bit of context, the ordinance does cap the height of these facilities at a maximum of 60 feet. So the ordinance is blind to co-location and to you know, single carrier versus co-location. It just simply says if you'd like to build a new cell phone tower, the maximum height is 60 feet. Under today's federal law, I believe an applicant or owner of a tower could actually ministerially now add up to 15 feet to raise the height of a tower to 75 feet if it's for the purposes of co-location. But it has to be an existing tower. So that's why, you know, these variances for height additions are becoming fewer, because federal law allows that sort of exemptions for existing towers. But for new towers, like the one we're considering tonight, the code does cap it at 60 feet.
But it taps it at 60 feet for whether it's a single carrier or a multiple carrier.
That's correct.
Okay, so you have that sole carrier or multiple carrier. That designation exists at 60 feet. Now we're going to 80 feet, and we have in the past allowed multiple carriers to go 80 feet, but in this particular case, we're not allowing a single carrier to go 80 feet. I kind of think that's really something that is not necessarily a good factor. I mean, let me step back and say, right now, the pandemic situation that we've had in this country, let alone in Santa Ana, we realize at this point in time that there is a huge amount of dead spots in the city of Santa Ana. The kids that are trying to go to school online, 40-50% of those students don't have online capability with the existing towers that exist. And I just think that, if we have the opportunity to increase the bandwidth, the areas of coverage by putting in towers at 60 to 80 feet, I don't see the challenge there, especially the location of this particular tower. It's located near power lines. It's located in an open area. It's pretty much, open farm area, if I'm not mistaken, on one side, and then, the SEC area on the other side. I just little comment on that. Ali?
Thank you, Chairman, and definitely, solid perspectives. I think it's also important, and I'm sure Lisa Stork could chime in on this one if needed. But when the city considers a variance, there has to be hardship proven that's related to size, shape, or topography of a site, like an immovable boulder or a trough or a canyon, a depression that necessitates the extra height, let's say. And those findings must be made by the commission that there's a unique topographical situation on the site, which is one of the reasons why, as Fernando was explaining in the presentation, it would be difficult to make those findings for a site like this, which helped inform the recommendation for denial.
So you're saying at this point in time that since there's nothing of any obstruction at this point in time, hearing or any irregularities with the area, that we can deny the extra 20 feet?
The inability to make those findings and all 4 findings required for a variance would make it difficult to support approving that variance application.
And the other 3 or 4 80-foot towers that we have in the city met those requirements?
There was sufficient context there for those that the commissions voted to approve them. That's correct.
So they met the criteria, or one of the criteria, or 2 of the criteria that you outlined.
Correct. Technically, from a legal standpoint, all 4 findings of fact must be made to support approval of a variance application. Excuse me.
Variance. That's correct. You have to be able to make all of the findings. And in those other cases that Ali is referencing, you were able to make the findings. The staff, in analyzing this project and this site, did not feel we could make the findings for the variance.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question, Lisa?
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Lisa, so the applicant said that if it was denied, it would return basically to appeal. What is the likelihood of that?
So what the applicant can do is, if they're unhappy with the Planning Commission's recommendation or decision, they can appeal to the City Council, and then the City Council will hear it as a new hearing. And again, they will have to be able to make the same findings for the variance.
Okay, thank you.
So let me ask you this: is the 80-foot tower in the pictures that were in the staff report that were put out there? Is the 80-foot tower still what would look like a tree? Is that the intent, that it's going to, whether it's 60 feet or 80 feet, it's going to look like a tree?
Yes, it's going to look like a mono-eucalyptus or eucalyptus tree.
It will be a eucalyptus tree.
Okay, that makes a big difference in my book. Yeah.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Chairman, Commissioner Morrissey.
The applicant had stated that there is no other location that a tower could be put to resolve some of the dead areas they have. Did staff concur with that, or is there any, did staff look into that at all?
I did look into that. I know that they provided a site analysis. However, the site analysis didn't necessarily show sites that, in my opinion, could have helped accommodate for the applicant. I know that the applicant also went and asked or attempted to get in touch with some of the building owners. However, I think the attempt was minimal because I know even Vince was in touch with some of the building owners and they were looking forward to speaking to AT&T, but the site analysis didn't really show an attempt to talk to those building owners. So I just don't think that there was an actual attempt from the applicant.
So your point is you're saying that the applicant said that they attempted to talk to the people in the area, and you're saying they really didn't attempt. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
They didn't provide the proof that they spoke to some building owners. That's
Okay, so
Mr. Chairman?
they didn't. Yes, go ahead.
Then I'd like to ask why is it in front of us then? Does this project need more time then so that they can cover and cross all their T's and dot their I's and see if there is another location instead of perhaps issuing a denial today?
Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, what I see is there has been, based on the documents that were presented here in the staff report, I mean, it appears that there's been quite an extensive amount of work done to look at this property and look at what other property alternatives are. I mean, you know, right now where this is located and everything else, it doesn't seem to me, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen to the farmland next to the highway. We don't know what that is. But, you know, you've got the neighborhood just to the north of the tower. But there's power lines in that same area. Are there not?
yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Commissioner Morrison,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm just thinking, you know, notwithstanding the whether or not, if this is in fact the only place that you can put a tower to achieve the coverage they need, this is really the best place to put it, right next to a freeway, like it is.
Yep.
You know, it's not near any residences, and but even if it's not, it's still really the best place if we're going to put up a tall tower. You know, I can't imagine another site that would really be less intrusive to have an 80-foot tower. And you know, given the points you brought up, you know, with the pandemic and coverage being the way it is, and how critical it is for you know, students and businesses to operate, I'd be in favor of increasing it to 80 feet.
Okay, I appreciate that, Tom. Thank you. Is there any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, this is Ken.
Yes, Ken, go ahead.
I echo your comment, Mr. Chairman. In my personal opinion, I've noticed that the coverage of AT&T in Santa Ana quite weak. And if the new higher tower of 80 feet and able to enhance the coverage and bandwidth and also provide better services for the residents of Santa Ana, I would support it.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm just going to make one other comment here, and that is going back to what Tom's saying. Yes, I think by the highway, it's in a location that's not a problem with residents or anything. I look over to the left of the picture that we got on page 1-52, and you've got the power lines over there. And I can also say unequivocally that I am not an AT&T carrier. I don't have their product, but the other product that I do have, there's a dead spot that exists right there on the highway that I always get with my current coverage. And so, there are dead spots around that area. This is obviously something that will take care of the dead spots from the AT&T point of view. I think we have certain requirements within our code. We all understand it's 60 foot. We understand that it has been arbitrarily given to several situations where it's down to 80 feet. We also talked about federal requirements changing it to 75 feet, or giving the 75-foot leeway. I too am in favor of going with the 80 foot. But let's see if there's any other comments. I'd like to hear anything from Commissioner Calderon at this point in time.
No, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the comments that were made by the other commissioners. I am also in favor of it. I think right now, the current situation that we're all living in, I think it's a great idea that, for residents and students especially, that they get the best coverage as possible. So, yeah, I mean, if we all come to an agreement to make it higher, I'm all for it. I support it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Calderon. Do any of the other commissioners have any other comments they'd like to make on this at this point in time? Commissioner, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo, do you have anything?
No, I'm also in support of making the exception, and staff can look into bringing back, a new version of the variance for some of these situations, so that it doesn't seem so complicated when there really isn't. But maybe re-looking at the ordinance would be good. But I'm excited.
Okay. So, having said that, we have staff has made a recommendation. Do we have a motion on this item at this point in time?
Chairman, this is Ali. Sorry to interrupt really quickly, but just as a matter of procedure, tonight before you is a resolution of denial for the variance. So in order to, if the commission desires to pursue approval, and Lisa, please help me out if I'm giving different information, but the staff would need to return with a resolution with findings of fact for approval and any direction from the commission as to any design or aesthetics or any sort of feedback to help make those findings.
Lisa?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you now.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. The resolution that we have prepared based on the staff recommendation was to deny. So we will have to be able to put some findings in the record so that we can prepare a resolution to approve. So tonight, if you have some findings that we can put on the record, we can prepare a resolution to approve, and then you could we could do a receive and file of that resolution to approve, or we can go over it verbally tonight.
So what is it that we need to give you specifically?
We need to be able to make some of the findings for the variance, to grant the variance. So if you look at the resolution, it has the findings that the staff felt that could not be made. So we have to be able to make some findings that certain things about the area or the property itself make those findings possible to make. So there's the finding about the topography, findings that the staff in their report said we're not able to make based on your conversation tonight, your discussion. You feel that some of those findings perhaps can be made, so we just need to be able to make those findings.
Okay, so where do we start with the findings? I'm going back into the...
My computer is having problems. I'm
I
sorry.
don't know the findings.
So the findings are in the resolution itself, numbered separately.
Can you give me a page on the staff report?
Well, my computer crashed here. Let me bring it back up again. I brought it up twice and it keeps having a problem.
Well, it's probably retired before you've retired.
So I'm on the list. I'm at the top of the list for a new computer. Now I'm leaving. That looks like that's kind of ironic.
Commission?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Commissioners, the resolution for the variance begins on page 1-15.
Scrolling down again. We'll try it again.
And the finding, where's the findings at? That's the start of the resolution.
So we'll want to navigate ourselves to section C, item 1. The first finding is that the use will provide a service or facility which will contribute to the general well-being of the neighborhood or community.
Section C.
So for that finding, you seem to be discussing the gap, and you seem like you are able to make that finding based on the discussion tonight.
Extra coverage. Extra coverage.
Filling the gap.
Reducing the gap.
Exactly.
Reducing the gap.
Okay. Still scrolling down. So you go ahead, Ali. The second finding that we need to make.
Thank you. The second finding is that the proposed use under circumstances of the case will not be detrimental to health, safety, or welfare of persons residing or working in the vicinity. So that could be tied back to the filling the gap and the extra coverage.
And
Well, I mean,
perhaps.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Chair. Go ahead, Chair.
I mean,
Go ahead, Chair.
wouldn't that be the fact that it's remotely located at this point in time?
Okay, so we'll add that to the findings.
Well, on number 2, at the end of that paragraph, ends with AT&T. It says, due to the proposed height of the wireless facility, lack of trees or buildings at similar height, the facility will visually intrude. So we're saying that in a location that will not visually intrude, affect adjacent businesses in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Okay.
And I think also a point that
Go ahead.
also a point that you raised that we can add to the findings is that there were no communications from nearby residents or businesses opposing.
Right.
Okay. All right, then go down to the next finding we have to make. Okay, I'm down to 1-10. I'm almost there.
It's all right, Lisa. The next finding has to do with the use will not adversely affect the present economic stability or future economic development of properties in the area.
It will not adversely. It will enhance. Yeah, Tom, you took the word out of my mouth. It'll enhance economic development of the properties surrounding the area.
You will increase coverage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And then the last finding for variance is that the proposed use will comply with regulations and conditions specified in the zoning code for such use. I'm sorry, second to last. So in this case,
they're asking for a variance, so it doesn't comply with Chapter 41. But if we can make these findings, we can grant the variance. it's going to be stealth, correct?
Mm-hmm.
As the mono-eucalyptus.
Right.
And if there are any other conditions, they will need to comply with any other conditions you want to add to the resolution as you're going to approve it.
Restate that, Lisa, please.
So they're not meeting Chapter 41 at this point because they're asking for a variance. So we can also specify any certain conditions that we want to add on to this variance, such as, maintaining the tree so that the fronds and everything, are up to a certain standard, or, removal of graffiti, certain things that we normally add to some of the conditions for these types of approvals.
Okay. That's fine. Normal as well as abnormal, not abnormal, but normal maintenance along with specific maintenance to maintain the condition of the tower and remove any graffiti that might occur.
Okay. Okay, and then the last one is that the proposed use will not adversely affect the general plan or any specific plan of the city. So in this area, we were concerned about the height, the aesthetics, that type of thing. So again, you might want to go back to your other findings you had in the earlier ones. And that's also one for honesty.
The extra coverage you're talking about and remotely located?
So affecting the general plan or any specific plan. So I don't know if there are other design elements or things that we can reference here, Ali, that we want to make sure that they comply with or be consistent with.
Ali?
Yeah, we can look at the general plan for things about enhancing corridors along in the urban design element and aesthetic impacts in the circulation element, as well as the stealthing and the location from residential uses, which is encouraged by the code. I think a minimum of 140 feet. Those are all factors that could be added to this finding.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is if we look at the new general plan, the area that we're talking about is the south end of Santa Ana, which in the Alton area, Anton area, and everything else, we're talking about putting up 10 and 12-story buildings.
Correct, in the draft general plan.
Yeah, in the vicinity of this tower, which for all intent and purposes, a 10 to 12 foot building would dwarf an 80-foot cell tower.
Hypothetically, yes.
Yeah. Hypothetically, okay. I'll take it as hypothetical. Fine. Okay. Hypothetically speaking. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we can redraft the ordinance. So the resolution that was before you today, you have two different resolutions, one for the CUP and one for the variance. The one for the variance that the staff recommended was a denial with all the findings that could not be made. So based on the conversation and discussion today, we can draft a resolution that approves the variance. But since that was not included in the packet, we'll have to bring that back to you for final approval.
Okay. So from the standpoint of approval or motion at this point in time, do we have to make a motion for the CUP?
Yes, we can make the motion for the CUP, and then we can reference that your motion, based on what I'm hearing the discussion, okay, you haven't made a motion yet, but if you make a motion to approve the variance, then we need to come back with that resolution and the findings for you to confirm those findings.
Okay. All right. So who would like to make the motion at this point in time?
There are two different action items before you.
Right, so the first motion we're talking about making is the motion
Adopt the
to
resolution
approve the,
approving the CUP.
adopt the resolution for approving the COP, okay? Will one of the commissioners make a motion?
I will make that motion to approve CUP 2020-19. That's the, that's the 60-foot.
No, that's correct. 2020-19 CUP.
And I'll second.
Okay, then there's the variance to go to 80. Okay, yeah, so we'll
Okay,
approve
so
that.
Tom, you've made the motion, and Miguel, you seconded, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other discussion on this item at this point in time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, would you do a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Roll call vote for approving the CUP. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen.
Aye.
Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Aye.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0 with Commissioner Garcia abstaining.
Okay. And then we have the resolution,
We have the variance item.
the variance item. So we need a motion on denying the variance at 60 feet, or requested the variance at 60 feet? Or are we going to, do we make a motion to approve an 80-foot tower?
Yes, so if you make a motion to approve an 80-foot eucalyptus, then that would be denying the variance 2020-04. I mean, it would be approving the variance 2020-04. Yes.
Right. Okay.
So it's a motion that's different than the recommended action by staff.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a
Yes.
motion to approve the 80 feet.
Okay.
Second.
Do we have second from Cynthia, from Vice Chair Contreras-Leo? Thank you. Any other comments? Is that okay, Lisa, as we've designated the motion?
Yes, so your motion is to approve variance number 2020-04 for an 80-foot
Right.
mono eucalyptus. Correct.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Madam Secretary, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, roll call vote for the variance, for approving the variance. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia. I'm sorry, she's abstaining. Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen.
Aye.
Vice Chair Contreras-Leo.
Aye.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 with Commissioner Garcia abstaining.
So what I would recommend is that we redraft the resolution to approve the variance, and then we will add the normal or usual conditions that we put on the cell towers facilities.
Okay.
And we'll bring that back to you at the next meeting so that we make sure that all of your comments were incorporated into the resolution as the findings and the conditions.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Lisa,
Thank
thank
you.
you for helping us through that, stepping us through that. Ally, thanks for your help on that. We appreciate you follow through on this. And thank you for the motion. We will now, this is the time and place to consider item number 2, environmental review number 2020-48, general plan amendment number 2020-07, and amendment application number 2020-05 for the property located at 2530 and 2534 West Westminster Avenue, Santa Ana. Please note that the recommendation on this matter will be forwarded to the City Council for final determination. Before we begin, do any of the commissioners have anything that they would wish to disclose with regards to this item? And also, Madam Secretary, have we alerted Commissioner Garcia to be back online?
Commissioner Garcia, if you are online, please come back into the conversation.
Yes, I'm back. Thank you.
And then Chair
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia.
Chair McLaughlin, for your information, Vice Chair Contreras-Leo has alerted staff that she did have to leave the meeting. So we do still have quorum, though.
So Vice Chair Contreras-Leo left the meeting.
Yes. Family emergency.
At 6:45.
Yes.
Okay, and all right. All right, so at this point in time, do we have does anybody have anything that they need to wish to disclose at this point in time regarding these items? I'll start with Commissioner Calderon.
I don't have anything to disclose.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Nothing to disclose at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Nguyen.
Nothing to disclose, thank you.
Commissioner Garcia.
Nothing to disclose.
Okay, I have nothing to disclose at this point in time either. All right. So with that said, Selena, you're going to be doing the presentation for us?
Yes. Good evening, Chair McLaughlin and members of the Planning Commission. The project before you tonight, next slide please, is located at 2530 and 2534 Westminster Avenue. It's currently an undeveloped 2-acre site, as shown in red on the screen. It's near the intersections of Westminster Avenue and Fairview Street. There are commercial uses to the north and east, and single-family residential neighborhood to the south of approximately 55 homes, and a commercial development directly across the street to the west. The project also has access to OCCA bus stop on Westminster and Fairview Avenue. Next slide, please. The next slide, you'll just see some site photos of the vacant site, largely vacant with some mature and ornamental trees and shrubs, and existing fencing around the perimeter of the property. And then not shown in the pictures, there is a billboard on site which is proposed to be demolished. Next slide, please. Project includes the proposed development of 85 multi-family residential units for rent. This would include 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom floor plans. The project is a 100% affordable housing project. It's primarily geared towards family housing. 58 of the units would be designated for extremely low-income households. These are households that earn between 0 to 30% of the area median income, and these would be the 3 and 4 bedroom units. The other affordable units would be 26 permanent supportive housing units. Permanent supportive housing is for persons experiencing chronic homelessness or at risk for homelessness, and specifically, these permanent supportive housing units are targeting youth that are transitioning out of the foster care system, and these would be the 1 and 2 bedroom units. In addition, 1 unit would be designated for live-in on-site property manager. The project proposes 136 parking spaces, which is a ratio of 1.6 spaces per unit, and does include 42 tandem stalls. There's a community room, meeting room, and on-site service provider offices, laundry rooms, bike rooms, and a publicly accessible park and picnic area off Calderon Drive, and private patios and balconies and rooftop patios for the individual units themselves. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the project is a 100% affordable housing project. And in July of 2019, the Community Development Agency, which is our housing division, issued a request for proposals to solicit development of affordable housing projects in our city. In response, 4 proposals were received and rated by a review panel consisting of city staff and an outside consultant.
Development Partners has a portfolio of over 22 projects, which comprises over 1,600 units, and includes 3 projects in Santa Ana, which are Tiny Tim, The Aqua, and Orchard. In April of this year, the City Council approved a pre-commitment of almost $4 million of affordable housing funds for the subject project. And in July, the applicant submitted their application to the Planning Division for review and processing, and also held the virtual sunshine ordinance meeting to overview the project. In November, in follow-up to the sunshine ordinance meeting, the Public Works Agency held a virtual meeting to overview the traffic impact analysis for the project and future capital improvements in the area. And most recently in December, the applicant held a follow-up virtual meeting to provide a status update of the project before the Planning Commission meeting. Next slide, please. Here you'll see the site plan. The development consists of 2 buildings, building A and B, with heights that vary from 3 to 4 stories. The site has been designed to push the building as close as possible to Westminster Avenue, away from the single-family dwelling, and, to the south, and portions of the building that are closest to the single-family residential homes will peer down to 3 stories in height. Vehicular access will be from Westminster Avenue. It's shown with the blue arrows on the screen. This will be a right turn in and right turn out access only, and will provide access to and from the site and the parking lot. The rear, which has 136 parking spaces, and 32 tandem stalls, which you'll see in the middle of the parking lot, and a few tandem stalls adjacent to the playground. The site plan has been designed so that there are no driveways or direct access to vehicular access to Huron Drive, which is the local residential street to the east, to the west, and the perimeter of the property will be planted with trees to provide additional layer of privacy along the property line. Next slide, please. Here you'll see the cross section of the development. As you can through the cross section, the playground and the parking lot service the buffer and setback between the multi-family development and the single-family homes, with setbacks of 60 feet to the west and 185 feet to the south. So we have 3 cross sections here. The top one is a north to south cross section. So starting on the right side of the screen, we start at Westminster, which is the north side of the site. There is a 64 setback, which is the playground on Huron, and then the single-family homes to the south. The building heights, which are highlighted in blue, are the 35-foot elements of the building, which are the 3-story elements, and what's shown in green are the 4-story elements, which are 47 feet in height. The middle of the screen is the cross section, which is also north to south, but this is at the middle of the site, where you'll see Westminster Avenue, starting from the right, the residential building, the courtyard in between the second half of the residential building, and then tear down to 3 stories, and 185 foot setback to the residential homes to the south, which would be along 16th Street. And the bottom cross section is the east to west cross section. This is where the development would be closest to the adjacent single-family homes, and this is only a small segment of the overall development where this configuration occurs. At this portion of the development, a 50-foot setback is provided between the multifamily buildings, which are 3 stories at that location, and the adjacent single-family home along Huron Drive. I just want to note, under the existing commercial zoning, the maximum building height is 35 feet and 3 stories, with minimum setbacks of 20 feet from residential homes. Next slide, please. The next couple slides will see some renderings of the project. The first one is a view looking south from Westminster and Huron Drive. The project includes a contemporary design. The materials include glass tile archways, simulated wood veneer siding, satin board siding, art graphics, plaster, and a mix of warm and cool colors. Next slide, please. And from the next rendering, we'll see views looking from the commercial development to the west, looking east on Huron Drive, We will see the residential building at the corner and the publicly accessible park or playground on site. Next slide, please. Estimate for the project is a total of 136 spaces and with 42 tandem stalls with a ratio of 1.6 parking spaces per unit. Under this table here has one scenario, and as we items we want to go over. The first one is that state law requires cities to approve reduced parking ratios of 0.5 spaces per unit for 100% affordable development projects that are within a half mile of a major transit stop. This project, as I mentioned, will be 100% affordable and has access to the transit stop, bus transit service on Westminster Avenue and Fairview Street. And so under state law, the project only requires 44 parking spaces and has an excess then of 92 parking spaces as designed. In addition, the project applicant, traffic and parking consultant, Claire Spears, prepared a parking study which documents that 136 parking spaces are adequate for the development of this size and supportive housing project is that. This is based on actual counts that were collected from the Orchard, which is another affordable housing development in our city that the developer manages and develops, and LACOT Affordable Housing Parking Study, which took counts of their affordable housing projects throughout LA and came up and derived ratios that were applicable to what was observed on site. So based on both data sets, the project demands for parking would be less than what's proposed for the project, which is 136 parking spaces. In addition, the applicant did prepare a parking management plan, which requires an on-site property manager, use of stickers or placards to allocate parking to residents, and allocate parking as follows. So it's one space per 1 and 2 bedroom unit, 1.5 spaces per 3 bedroom unit. So this means that some units would have 1 space per 3 bedroom and some would have 2. And that would be based on the demands needed for each unit, which the property manager would manage. And then 2 parking spaces per 4 bedroom for each 4 bedroom unit, and these would be specifically for tandem stalls on the site. This still allows for 4 guest parking spaces, ADA and electric vehicle parking spaces, gas parking spaces for on-site service providers, and 1 move-in or rideshare space. I also want to note that there is permit parking currently along Huron Drive for the single-family homes to the west of the site, basically from the project site down to 16th Street. Next slide, please. The MND and a series of technical studies were prepared for the project. The MND was available for public review and comment for 20 days, as required by SUPRA, from November 6th to November 26th. A total of 2 comments were received, one from OCSA, which were standard comments, and the second was from a resident. There were no specific comments on how the SUPRA document was inadequate or how the project should be exceed any SUPRA threshold, and written responses to the comments were prepared and incorporated into the final MND, along with the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, which includes mitigation measures for the project. These mitigation measures are for biological resources, cultural resources, geology and soil, noise, and tribal and cultural resources. Some of the comments raised with the sunshine ordinance, sunshine meeting were in regards to traffic and noise, and those are covered in the environmental document as well. A traffic impact analysis was prepared and reviewed by the Public Works Agency. I'm just going to overview some of the traffic details for the project. The project is expected to produce 462 daily trips with 31 trips during the peak hour, AM peak hour, and 37 trips in the PM peak hour. In addition, comments were raised about cut-through traffic along 16th Street and Huron Drive, coming from Fairview 16th to Huron to then Westminster, as a shortcut to the project, and that was analyzed. In addition, 83 However, neither of those numbers did any trips overall on the local on the local streets exceeding thresholds for people for the project. The project, however, will be contributing to its fair share contributions, the monetary contributions for overall improvements at Westminster Avenue and Fairview Street, West Drive in Westminster, and 16th Street and Fairview Street. Comments were also raised in regards to noise, and as I mentioned with the the mitigation measures related to the project for the MND, there are requirements for exterior building materials to reduce interior noise levels, and also to have those features on the exterior balconies that are adjacent to Westminster or face Fairview Street. It'll also require an 8-foot high wall between the playground area and the single family home. And the overall traffic generated by the project is trips will not increase traffic noise levels more than 0.5 MDL, and therefore would not exceed any particular threshold for noise. Next slide, please. The project includes a general plan amendment 2020-07, which is a proposed amendment to change the general plan map land use designation from general commercial to urban neighborhood. You'll see the two figures on their images on the screen. On the left is the existing designation and adjacent land uses, which shows the site in blue as general commercial. And the image on the right is the proposed, which then would be changing this designation to urban neighborhood. The urban neighborhood land use designation allows for a mix of residential uses, which the current general plan designation of commercial does not allow for. So the urban neighborhood allows for this type of development, along with other residential development opportunities such as townhomes, single-family dwellings, multifamily housing, and work opportunities, and neighborhood retail and service uses. The urban neighborhood designation under our current general plan allows for floor area ratios of 0.5 to 3, and this project is consistent with that floor area ratio of 1 at 1.09 and 42 dwelling units per acre. In addition, the project supports several goals and policies of the general plan, including to provide quality housing, various affordable housing levels, and living experiences that accommodate Santa Ana's residents and workforce, and also various income levels, ages, and inclusive community. Next slide, please. Amendment application 2020-05 to change the zoning designation for the subject property from commercial to specific development number 97. Again, the two images on the screen show the existing conditions on the left and proposed on the right. The specific development is a written document which will include site-specific objectives and development standards, such as specific heights and parking standards and setbacks, which are specific to this project and the site design that's been shown on the screen and presented tonight, and also within the staff report. Just want to note that there are two other specific developments nearby along Westminster or 17th Street, and that this proposed specific development is similar in scale and density with other existing multi-family developments in the area and the specific developments that I mentioned, along with the Harbor East Transit Corridor specific plan, which is to the west along 17th and Westminster. Next slide, please. And with that, that concludes my staff presentation for tonight. I'm available for any comments. And this project is before we tonight review that we recommend action for City Council approval by the environmental document, general plan amendment, and amendment application. I also want to note that the project applicant, their team, development team, and management team, architect, parking and traffic consultants are also on the line.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Selena. explain it. Does the commission have any questions of Selena at this point in time? I'll start with Commissioner Calderon.
Sure. Thank you for that very thorough presentation. I want to actually go back, if it's possible, to go to the last slide, one of the very last slide of the presentation, if it's possible. So first and foremost, I know that traffic is one of my concerns, and I know that you stated in the presentation that there is currently what is it called, parking permits for the residents that live around there. And is it 16th and Perm Drive the only streets that require the parking permit, or is it all of the shaded area in yellow that has that?
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. It is not all of the area that's shown in yellow. There are 2 parking permit areas within the 55 homes, which are directly to the south. So that's any homes up here on 16th or Glen Arbor. The permit parking, one portion is the 6 single-family homes directly to the west of the development off Huron. And so it would be anything north of 16th Street along Huron to where you see that pink color for the commercial designation.
Perfect.
Those
Okay.
6 homes there. There is additionally permit parking on Glen Arbor Street, that whole cul-de-sac. So there are areas, though, of 16th that doesn't have permit parking, and then that last segment of Huron Drive south of 16th Street does not have permit parking.
Got it. Thank you. And then just a second question that I have. So I know that the affordable housing project that is in discussion is going to be for individuals who youth and at risk people that have been at risk or a very low income. My question is, in the parking situation for the community that's being built, how many of those parking spaces, or how many parking spaces are there going to be for visitors? Do you have a answer to that?
Yes, based on the parking management plan that was drafted for the project, it would be four guest parking spaces.
4 guest parking spaces. Okay. I want to just kind of comment on that, because since this community is going to be housing that type of population, as a social worker, I think about, clients that live in these types of residential communities and how hard it is sometimes to see clients, based on, the limit that there is for parking. So I was wondering if, there would be any, is there any situation or possibility to increase that just for the sake of, people that need services that are going to be living there, like any case workers, social workers, that, that can come and visit the individuals that are living there. I don't know if we can propose for there to be additional parking for them. Would that be possible?
I think the applicant can speak to, and our parking consultant can speak to the site design and how they feel that the parking inventory is not adequate. But I also want to note that the parking management plan, so the parking standards for this project is specific to this development. We do have options for changes, but you have to keep in mind the site configuration and constraints that might be there. And that the parking management plan was drafted, so it can change and be changed over time, based on demand. So what they came up with initially was the 4 guest parking spaces, and then it still would allow for 4 staff parking spaces to be used during daytime hours, and then management could then allocate those to be used at night for residential parking. So there's going to be staff parking for those on-site service providers.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Calderon, any other questions?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, just one question, Selena. And maybe the applicant is the right person to answer the question, but any green elements that are being used in this proposed development?
The applicant's architect is the overall design, but this project would be required to meet the California Green Building Code requirements, with low flow plumbing fixtures, energy efficient light fixtures, and mechanical equipment. All of those standards, but anything above and beyond, the applicant can speak to hopefully during their comment period.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Morrissey.
Yes, thank you. I do have one question. You mentioned the setback requirements from the previous, the commercial zone. What's the current minimum setback we have with this development from residents?
So under the commercial zoning, which the project, which the site currently is zoned as, it would be 20 feet for adjacent to any of the residential structures.
Okay, and currently, as this project is designed, what's the minimum, what's the most restrictive setback, I guess? I'm looking at the diagram on...
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. That would be...
Yeah, sorry about that. It wasn't clear.
No, 50 feet. And that would be from east to west, between one of the single-family homes there and the closest portion of the residential building.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions, Commissioner Morrison?
No, thanks, not at this time.
Commissioner Nguyen?
No question. Thank you.
Okay, I think, Selena, based on some of the comments that have already been made and questions, I think most of my questions will probably evolve around the applicant themselves, so I'll wait until the applicants. So having said that, does anyone else have any questions of staff at this point in time? Okay, hearing none, then what we'll do is, Madam Secretary, have we received any written communication on this item?
Yes, we received a total of 6 comments. 2 were in favor of the project. I'm sorry, 2 were in opposition of the project and 4 were in favor, and those have been distributed to the commission and posted on the city's website.
Okay, all right, so six communications, 4 in favor, 2 not.
Correct.
All right. With that said, we will open the public hearing at this point in time. And does the applicant have anything that they would like to comment or discuss?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is Brian Hendricks with Melgis Realty representing the applicant. And I don't have too much to add, as Selena did a great job walking through the details of the project. I do want to mention, our overall mission and purpose with this project that we're proposing is to provide dignified, really great housing for those that need it most in the city of Santa Ana, while at the same time doing it in a way that works closely and communicates with the neighbors and the people that are obviously impacted by the development coming in on what is currently vacant land. So we're trying to be sensitive to the needs of the existing community, while at the same time creating substantial new housing units for a population that can benefit so much from it. And we also have a very high value on quality design and having a building that really adds to the fabric of the city, being on a fairly prominent east-west street in Westminster there in Santa Ana. We wanted to present well, the street frontage as well. And so we thank you for hearing the item. We're very thankful to get the City Council support for funding through the Affordable Housing RFP a number of months ago. I'll also let Kyle Payne, the lead developer from Community Development Partners, and introduce himself. And of course, our team, we have our lead architect on the call, Brian Udashevsky, and Paul Herman, our parking and traffic consultant from Fair and Piers as well. We're all available for questions.
Yeah, hi, this is Kyle. This is Kyle Payne, Community Development Partners. I just want to thank everybody for the time tonight and the fantastic presentation by Selena. Open to answering any further questions, but I do believe that the big details of the project have been answered. But again, here to answer anything else as needed. So thank you all.
Okay. Anyone else from the applicant that wants to present to discuss anything at this point in time?
I think we'll just address questions or whatever else there might be at this point.
All right, that sounds good. We'll start off with Commissioner Calderon. Would you have any comments or questions with regards to this?
No comments or questions at this time. Like I said, comment. The only comment I had was just from earlier, with the parking situation, just available for any visitors that are, working, especially like service workers, social workers, and so forth. I think it's just very mindful for that. Just based on experience as well, working with clients who live in affordable homes, and how challenging it is to meet with them just for the reason of limited amount of parking slots there, so just something to take note on. But other than that, thank you so much, and it's a great project something to look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, I have a question or two. The first is, I think Selena mentioned that there would be some rooftop access or patios. I don't see them laid out anywhere in the exhibit or elevations. Is that something that's still being determined on how it's going to look, or can you give us an insight to that?
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Milczewski. I'm part of the design team, and I just want to thank everybody for their time. That's really a question, a lot of information to sort of digest at this time. So there are, actually every unit has a balcony or ground floor patio, and then most of the outdoor community spaces are within the publicly accessible playground and open space, as well as a pair of courtyards. There is a couple of fourth floor community spaces, pretty modest in size, but wanted to provide a variety of common area outdoor spaces. So they are sort of to the southwest of the building at the corner of Huron and Westminster. And then the other one is sort of towards the southeast corner of the east building. And again, they're both on the fourth floor, and they're pretty modest in size, mostly sort of seating and just small gathering spaces.
So at this time, there's no use of the rooftop for open space purposes?
Not the rooftop. The rooftop would be more likely dedicated to solar panels and mechanical equipment. All properly screened. We've already sort of designed that into the design.
And that's a perfect segue to my next question, which was some of the environmental friendly green additions that you have that you can perhaps educate us on now. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. California is at the leading edge of sustainability, and also because of the funding sources that support affordable housing, we are further encouraged to incorporate sustainable design throughout the project. And so there will be power generation on site through solar panels atop the rooftop, sustainable stormwater management throughout the site. So the idea being not to contribute to the not to input burden on the surrounding stormwater infrastructure. And then we have a significant amount of bicycle parking, as well as electric vehicle parking, as well as we already will on day one there'll be excuse me 3 parking stalls for electric vehicles. There will be additional stalls that will be ready for conversion to EV come the time that it becomes useful. And then on top of that, incorporating sustainable materials, low flow and low energy fixtures throughout the project. And that will actually even be helped through our central laundry facilities that we might even be able to explore sort of gray water, but that's sort of cutting edge. So we want to be cautious about that going forward. So those are just some of the things at this sort of early level of design, how we've been thinking about sustainability.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, Commissioner Nguyen. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Morrissey, please.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank the applicant for taking on this project. It's such a critical need in the community for this type of housing project, and all the extra sustainable features you incorporated. Looks like you've addressed issues with scale and setbacks, and looks like a really successful project. I do have a concern about architecture along Westminster. You mentioned you really wanted to present a high-quality look along that street. It's a major arterial. And just the, when we do type of affordable housing, I look at what we've done in French Park, and you walk around there, drive around, and there is affordable housing there, but you never know it because it's just so well done. And I just think the deep level of detail along Westminster could be upgraded a little bit, or I guess developed a little more, kind of a manneristic, that's what I'll call them, way of doing the arches. Just is kind of a departure from what we've seen from the developments that were previously referenced. So it's wondering if you'd be willing to work with staff to work that through a little more.
Yes, thank you for the comment, Commissioner. We actually are in some discussions with staff, and we're looking forward to the Commission's input on some of the design elements. So we're very much in the conversation about how to make any adjustments, not to the to the overall design, but to some of those elements to improve where we can. Okay,
yeah,
so
that I think the development, as it faces the residences, it's really a nice development. I'm just concerned about the street side elevations.
well, thank you very much. All right, Tom, any other comments?
No, that's all I have at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Nguyen.
I would like to thank the applicant to bring into some development a very great need for the city, especially for our residents in the area of the affordable housing. This is very, very, very important project and very great need for the residents. You will have my support in this project. Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple of comments. I want to go back to what Miguel was talking about earlier about the services, and I understand that his concern, and I share the same concern with regards to, 4 parking spaces doesn't seem to be a lot for that. But are there locations on this, within this project that are actually put aside for services to come in and work with the people in the facility, in this project? Rather than, people coming in and going to somebody's home, are there going to be locations, and are there going to be services that are going to be available on a daily basis in this project?
Yeah, this is Kyle Payne with CDP, the developer. And yeah, we have offices and spaces for case management and supportive services, as well as, property management and on-site oversight. So yeah, there's definitely space accessible for residents to receive services and meet with their case managers and the resident services coordinator.
Okay, good. That's one thing. So there aren't, but are there going to be any permanent services on the site? I know when we talked about the Aqua project, when it was under request for approval from the commission, there was some services that were planned on being on site with the Aqua project. Do we have that same situation with this particular project?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, this project is a mix of both family housing and then permanent supportive housing. So there'll be services for both populations and offices and office space for meetings with the tenants and the services provider.
There are no
available.
Okay, there are. I'm assuming at this point in time there are no retail or any kind of retail whatsoever on site.
That's correct. Yeah, instead on the ground floor will be our our community room, leasing office, and management office, the playground area that's publicly accessible, as well as services offices on the ground floor.
Okay, and there was a question. There was a point made by Selena with regards to the parking management plan. Is that parking management plan available at this point in time? I did not see it in the package. Maybe I missed it.
Oh yeah, thank you.
I'm unsure if it's in your packet, but it is available.
Selena, has it been presented to us in the package?
Yes, it's on page 2-76 of the staff report as attachment or exhibit of 12. And then also the development does include provisions to not allow any commercial tenants as far as the office spaces on site. And there was also one question about the location of the roof deck, and that is also shown on the open space exhibit in our planning commission packet, which is on page 2-64. So the area is in light green on the 4th level.
Okay, so let me just give me a second. 2-64 is what you said?
76.
2-76. Okay, so 2-76. So 1-bedrooms get 23 parking spaces. 2-bedrooms get 4. 3-bedrooms get 50. And ADA, we have 5, so there's ADA and 4 guests, 4 staff. and the tandems are built inside of which units are getting the tandems? That's the 4 bedrooms?
Yeah, all of the 4-bedroom units would be tandem spaces, and that would be 2 spaces per 4-bedroom.
So that's 21 tandem spaces. Okay. Okay, so this is considered at this point in time the entire package parking.
Correct.
Okay.
And the specific development also requires the parking management plan, and that plan also includes continual monitoring of the site, and they can always alter the plan as needed.
So, and the reason why, this is just LA, sorry. Okay. All right. Question, maybe, Senator, this is a question for you, but how long has this property been in the current condition that it's in?
I don't have the exact years that the proposed. There were previously commercial developments on the site that were demolished. I know there have been some proposals for commercial development, and those are currently on hold with this current application.
So we don't know how long this has been a lot.
I can look that up and provide that information in just a moment.
And then the other thing is all of the ingress and egress of the property is all on 17th Street / Westminster. Nothing is on Huron, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is Kyle Payne with CDP. I just was looking at our history of the property. It says in the 1960s it was developed as a commercial building. That was, I think, the first time it was officially developed.
I'm sorry, what was it?
So the 1960s was when the first commercial development on the site was done.
Right, but my question is, how long has it been an abandoned lot?
Yeah, this is Brett Dirk speaking, and I do live very close by to the area, and actually pursued the site from Mr. Ahern. It was Ahern Rentals when it was last an operating business, and of course we'll have to. I'm going to say it's about 5 to 7 years that it's been since Ahern left as an estimate.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015 it was demolished. I'm looking at our big one. So in 2015 was when the buildings were demolished.
And Chair, that coincides with our demo permit records. But it was
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Then who is going to be? I know that when you look at the orchard, that's a partnership with Community Development Partners and Mercy House. Who's going to be involved with this particular project?
This is also Mercy House as well. We'll be partnering with them on this project.
This is also Mercy House. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Larry's actually on the line if you'd like to. He had trouble dialing in, but I can patch him in.
Larry has trouble from time to time, but that's okay. Larry Haynes.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm trying to patch him in here. 1 second.
Attaching in a call.
Well, there you are. Larry, I think you're on now with the Planning Commission. Larry, are you there?
I seemed to be earlier question about traffic patterns with social workers and so forth, and I just wanted to reassure that my staff will be there. We'll actually be on site doing the same services such as at the Orchard and Aqua and other facilities as well.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
Sure.
All right. I don't have any other questions at this point in time. Solar, how much, with regards to solar panels and everything else, how much of the energy do you expect to derive from the solar panels as far as usage versus capability? We haven't. Oh, good. And is solar going to be, when the building is put in, is solar going to be with the building itself, or is it going to be something that's going to be added on later on?
The intention would be to have the solar panels installed as part of the building, the project development, the initial project development. So on day one, having the solar panels. Honestly, we have not done the modeling yet as far as how much energy will be produced versus how much will be used. Our goal is to at least have common areas and sort of house electricity use covered by on-site generation. That is our minimal goal, but like I said, we haven't modeled it yet. That'll be sort of one of the upcoming phases of design.
Okay. With regards to, here's a question I have. Celine, I think it's something with you or Ty, not Ty, but Tay, with regards to parking. Is permit parking surrounding this facility, but I'm assuming that people in the facility itself will not have the ability to get permanent parking in the surrounding area.
Correct. So the current areas that are permit parking only would only allow for those residents that are within that area to apply for extra permit.
Okay. Is this an area at this point? I mean, there's very few areas in Santa Ana that aren't issues when it comes to parking. But is this an area that is obviously a concern from everybody's standpoint?
Mr. Chair, this is Ted Higgins. You're right. Just about every area in the city has some concern. This I would rate it kind of generally medium. As Selena pointed out, there are two blocks within the 4 or 5 that already have permit parking, and then north of Westminster, there are a few more blocks. It's not one of the worst. It's not the lightest. There are some concerns, obviously, about parking in the area.
Yeah, I have to assume that the property across the street that used to be at one point in time, recently, Stater Brothers is no longer Stater Brothers. I'm assuming that I've heard that Gonzales Market will probably be moving into that location. But I'm assuming that parking will not be, there will not be any overnight parking or parking available other than to the patrons of the market itself.
I would imagine not.
Okay. All right. That's all I have as far as questions go of the applicant. Does the applicant have any last statements they'd like to make at this point in time before we open up the public hearing to the people calling in?
I just like to this is Kyle Payne with CDP. I just wanted to say thank you, Planning Commission for listening to our project. Thank you to the staff for all the efforts in getting us to where we are, and we're excited to bring this project, which we feel is greatly needed in the city, to fruition. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you. And Selena, just a couple things you and I talked about earlier in the day, and that is that we did not, this was was not a project that came in front of us as a work study. And the reason why it wasn't brought to us as a work study was because
That's
a question.
Yes, there was no work study session on this project. The project did have some tight timelines in trying to get to City Council in order to apply for their a very competitive funding source, which is in January. And the applicant submitted their plans in July, and with the secret document and a lot of moving parts, there was not a lot of time in their schedule for a work study session.
And the funding that's available on this project is available when?
I have the applicant speak if you have specific questions, but the application that's specific to the January timeframe is the No Place Like Home application, but there are several funding sources that the applicant is pursuing.
Okay, so can we get an answer for that question from the applicant?
Yeah, this is Kyle Payne again. In regards to the funding available for this project, that's a question. Yeah, yes.
I'm just saying that,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just asking for the timeline with regards to right now. This is the 14th of December. We're reviewing it from the standpoint of the Planning Commission. It'll go in front of the council in January, early January.
Right.
And I'm just asking, when is the funding? The funding requirement date is when?
The application date for the No Place Like Home funding, which is administered through California Housing and Community Development, that we are applying for, is due on January 19th.
Okay.
So we are getting ready for that application as we speak.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Those are my questions. So at this point in time, we'll open up the public hearing for comments and questions from others. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody that would like to, at this point in time, comment on this project?
If you'd like to speak on this matter, please dial *9. You will be called upon by the last 4 numbers of your phone number. When you are called, please state your name, your position on the matter, and your comment. You will have 3 minutes.
Nếu quý vị muốn nói về vấn đề này, xin vui lòng bấm hoa thẹn, tức là star, giống như là ngôi sao, số 9, star, số 9. Quý vị sẽ được gọi bằng 3 số phone cuối cùng của quý vị. Khi quý vị được gọi, xin vui lòng nói tên của quý vị và vị trí của quý vị về vấn đề này và cái bình phẩm của quý vị. Quý vị có 3 phút để nói. Cảm ơn quý vị.
Thank you. That was our translator. Yes, that was our translator. So we're going to go ahead and pick up some callers. Caller with the last 3 numbers, 3536. Please press *6 to unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, could you state your name?
Hello, my name is Tony John Nguyen, and I'm speaking on behalf of 3 families, the Nguyen, the Lê, and the Har family. And my question concerning the parking management plan that we have here, I think I heard it in the discussion, but I want you to confirm 16 and Huron Street are permit-only parking. The tenant in this housing project will not be able to apply for permit to park on those streets. Is that true?
This is a chair, and you're asking a question. This is a point in time where you have to make a statement and, as to what you'd like to see or what you'd like to do. And then what we'll do is at the end of the public hearing, we will try to address any of the questions through the applicant or ourselves. So if you have something else to say about the project besides asking about the parking management, please go ahead and do that.
Okay, I just have questions. So if that's not allowed at this time, then I'll wait until the end then.
Well, if you have other questions you want to raise, please raise the questions, and then we'll determine how to be answered, okay?
Okay.
So you have a question about parking management, so noted. Please tell us what the other questions are.
The question was concerning with the permit on Huron and 16th Street. Will they allow the people in there to get the permit?
Okay, that's fine. Next question.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, that's it? All right. Well, thank you, Tony, and please, Secretary, next person.
Okay, thank you. Next person with the last four numbers, 7490. Please dial *6 and go ahead with your comment. Please dial *6. Caller with the last four numbers, 7490.
Hi, my name is Chris Jacobson. I have submitted substantial comments about the proposed project and the effect upon our neighborhood, but I have received no response from the city, and I have received no response regarding the traffic. What can you tell me?
Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have a letter from this particular applicant at this point in time?
Caller, can you please state your name again?
My name is Chris Jacobson.
Chris Jacobson. And I have not received a public comment from that name. I don't have that letter on record.
I have submitted the response to each and every member of the city council, to the mayor at the time, to Selena, and to the planning commission.
Oh.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't have that letter on comment, but we will notate the comment into the record. If you have another comment, you may go ahead.
It was an email. If you do not have it, I can resupply it to you again.
No. That would be fine, yes. Thank you.
That does not help the problem now.
Yes, you may resubmit that letter to us, and we will go ahead and include it with the record.
Let me respond currently that the plan for the proposed development is putting cars parked directly against the property tax line between those properties on 16th Street and on Huron Drive. They're not building a fence. They're not building a setback. They're not building anything to correct from intrusion from the parking lot onto the existing parkway. How do you respond?
Okay, we'll take that into consideration when we take in the closing comments for this item. So you have one question. Is there another question you might have at this point in time?
Yes, there is.
Go ahead.
You have basically ignored the existing neighborhood in the examination of the consequences of the proposed project. I want you to examine the consequences of the proposed project on the existing neighborhood and the consequences thereof. The city is under a lot of pressure from the governor of California to basically approve this project. The county, likewise, a lot of discretion to approve this project. The only one supporting the interests of the neighborhood is the CEQA amendment, and you are trying to go around it and basically bypass it. I basically oppose that bypass.
Okay. Any other items that you have?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate your questions, and they're so noted.
Thank you. Next caller with the last four numbers, 5303. Please dial *6 to unmute yourself. State your name and your position. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Kimberly Adams. I am the Housing Advocacy Program Manager with Orange County United Way. Orange County United Way are speaking tonight to express our support for the Rescue housing development under consideration this evening. In addition to 85 affordable housing units, there's a set aside for 26 permanent supportive units for unhoused neighbors. Never before has there been a stronger desire to end homelessness and create housing in Orange County. Housing affordability is a persistently growing challenge throughout Orange County for families, veterans, seniors, and individuals as home and rent prices continue to climb. Due to these rising costs, households have to spend over 30% of their income on housing, and a growing number are spending more than 50% on their income on housing. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, affordable housing was already a growing need in communities throughout the county. Given the disproportionate impact the pandemic has had on working class families, affordable homes will be even more needed as we look to rebuild our local economy. In 2018, United Way launched United to End Homelessness, a powerful collaboration among Orange County's top businesses, philanthropic, government, faith-based, and nonprofit leaders committed to ending homelessness and ensuring housing and services are available for every individual who may need them. United to End Homelessness has been a powerful voice in advocating for housing as the solution to end homelessness and housing instability, which can be devastating to families and children. We have always supported and maintained that affordable, stable housing is the building block to a family's success. Thank you for your approval of the Westview project tonight. We're grateful for your courage and willingness to improve the lives of so many. I'm obviously in support of this project. Thank you to the Planning Commissioner.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you. Next caller with the last four numbers, 3002. Please dial *6 to unmute yourself. State your name, your position, and your position on the matter. You have 3 minutes. Caller with the last three numbers, 3002. Please dial *6 to unmute yourself. You are still muted. Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. First of all, thank you very much for taking my call. My name is Benjamin. I am the resident located on 16th Street in Huron, which means right at the corner. My concern for you is after you have this beautiful home you consider built up, they're going to take 16th Street to get into the entrance of the property, which means where I live is right at the corner. Every day I see a lot of cars passing by. Imagine you have more buildings coming up like that, more people living in the area would be more traffic. I have children that living in the area. They play along the street, and I see a lot of cars drive by at the corner. They didn't even stop. They keep speeding up, and they avoid the car that's coming up to them. I can see many accidents going to happen.
imagine if you have the property come up to create or fix, how are you going to answer if something happens to our children? The people that live in Huron Drive and the 15th Street. Can you at least put the stop sign right at the corner at 16th Street and Huron in order to avoid people speeding up, avoid people not even looking when they're making a left turn on 16th Street or they make a right turn on Huron Street? And my next question for you is, are there any way you avoid using our property, our street to get into your property? Because I feel like this creates a lot of traffic, and I know it's going to bring a lot of accidents, not even crime, or maybe a lot of pollution, like gas that I can see that happen along the street already. Imagine people that walk by and they pollute, make the street and our property going down in the value. I want all of you to reconsider this, especially the chairman and the council. I want you to study carefully because you have 85 homes with very minimal parking. How can you fill up so many people into 4 or 3 floor buildings with very minimal parking? And what happens if people park on our property? It's going to come out something that's going to make people upset. We don't want to do that. We know when you live in a very beautiful environment and now this property comes up, it's going to bring a lot of crime and gas and, you know, like I can imagine what's going to happen in the future, but I can see that you should make an entrance from Westminster in instead of going in through our neighborhood to get into your property. This is unbelievable. I need all of you, including the planner, the city, you need to sit down and study this carefully because you make a big property and you use our street to get into your property. That's unbelievable. I mean, how can you do that? Can you just get our street in a very peaceful street instead of like using our street to create more accidents and more traffic? And what I think that you guys study on the traffic is not correct at this moment. You know why? Because with this pandemic, okay, Benjamin, more that getting by very little.
Benjamin, can you wrap up what you want to say? Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
Can you?
Well, first of all, I want the community to study this carefully, especially the parking.
Okay.
And then think about if you ever approve this property, I want you to put the stop sign right at the corner, which means my house is right at the corner on 16 and Huron, to stop the traffic that's going so fast it's going to create accidents. And that's all I'm concerned about it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. If there are any other callers that would like to speak on this matter, please indicate your desire to do so by dialing *9 now. I'll wait a few seconds to see if we have anyone else. Chair, there are no other callers.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We'll bring this back to the applicant at this point in time. Do you have any final comments that you'd like to make at this time with respect to some of the comments that came from the public, or any other comments that you think you would like to have at this point?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Brian Hendricks. A couple of responses to the last gentleman as far as a stop sign in 15th and Huron. Although that's a city, of course we would be supportive of that. I understand that the neighborhood and the city, if that's something that would be good to get accomplished. And then he also, I think there was mention about ingress or egress being on Westminster rather than through the neighborhood. Our only ingress and egress is on Westminster, and that was done purposefully in order to not have ingress egress point on Huron. So I do want to address those 2 points.
Any other comments? Nothing else as far as the public part. Having said that, since there's no further comments from the public, no further comments from the applicant, we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission. Would anybody at this point in time want to make a comment or question? Commissioner Calderon?
No questions or at this moment. In regards to comments, I appreciate every caller that came in. I understand your concerns, and definitely it's something to look into. Just going back to what the last caller's comment mentioned about the information about traffic, I think it's a very. I'm not so sure when the city did a study on the traffic, but it is something to pay close attention to. Especially right now, like you mentioned, we are in a pandemic and traffic has reduced. So we don't know what the outcome could be in the future. So it is something to look into, definitely. That's the only comment that I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah, I just would also invite staff and the applicant to find a way to address the concerns of the community. I think there seems to be either a misunderstanding or misunderstanding of communication in terms of the parking permits. I think there was a misunderstanding where some of the community members believe that there may or may not be an opportunity for residents of the new development to apply for permits on the current residential streets. And so maybe a point of clarification going up for the community members that call would be in order. And in terms of other traffic concerns, I think it'd be important to address that to the community as well.
Okay. Commissioner Marcy.
Yes, I just had a couple of follow-up questions based on what the public had stated. I was looking at where the local elementary school that serves this area is, and looks like it might be Fremont. So I think, when we're talking about safe routes to schools, that, a stop sign at 16th and Huron might be warranted, but would that be something the city would do a traffic study or a study to...
Tag, are you still with us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Commissioner Morrissey. What I will suggest is if you can let staff go back and determine a warrant analysis for a traffic, for a stop sign at that particular location. As you may know, stop signs need to be warranted to follow federal guidelines, et cetera. And so we can certainly do that. We do that, or we will do that for that particular intersection. I would suggest that it doesn't necessarily need to relate to the project. We'll do it because the resident asked for it.
Okay. Tom, does that take care of
your concern? Very much. I appreciate that.
I'm going to just jump in on Tom's comment too and say, the applicant was not the applicant, but the public speaker had mentioned that people were going to be coming in on 16th and Huron. My question is, if I'm currently heading north on Fairview, can I make a left-hand turn into 16th Street?
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
So to go down 16th Street and then turn right onto Huron and then turn right onto Westminster in order to get into the project.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and in fact, that was relatively closely studied in the traffic study. There was a determination of the daily volume of vehicles on Huron and 16th Street, and then compared to that, how many additional cars would traverse that same route, exactly what you described. And in fact, we did have a meeting with the neighborhood, virtual meeting with the neighborhood in early November to discuss that and even bring up the option of building a median in the near term on Fairview to prohibit that left turn. And
Yeah,
in fact,
that's what I would.
Yeah, if I can continue then. We then surveyed the neighborhood, and we sent out 66 requests. We got back 17 votes. One person requested the median. The remainder said no, they did not want the median. They didn't want to lose that northbound left turn access from Fairview into 16th Street. So if I can add just a couple of more numbers, we do have the number of trips that were on the daily trips existing on Huron are around 640 a day, and we expect about 83 additional trips on Huron from the subject development. And then on 16th Street, there are about 1,100, almost 1,200 daily trips on 16th Street. That's the daily volume. And again, we expect that about 83, that the project will generate about 83 additional trips per day. Percentage-wise, one of those is 13%, the other one is 7%. That's well less than what a capacity of a local street would be. Whether or not the neighborhood feels the exact same way is, subject to how they feel. But, again, we and I think the traffic engineers see that the capacity of those local streets is much, much higher than what's out there today and what will be out there post this project.
Okay. Commissioner Morrissey, do you have any other questions?
No further questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Lynn?
No question. Thank you.
Okay. Did I miss you, Commissioner Garcia?
No, you did not. Thanks.
Okay. I guess I have a couple of concerns based on some of the public comments, and I guess I'll go back to Chris Jacobson. Supposedly there are a number of emails that have come to the council, the mayor, and the commission, and yet no one seems to have this information at this point in time.
Selena will be addressing
Chair.
that comment.
What's that?
Hi, Chair. This is Selena Sullivan. The comments Mr. Jacobson submitted were in response to the mitigated negative declaration during that public review and comment period, which ended on November 25th. There were complete responses drafted for the final MND, which is posted on the project webpage, in response to his comment letter, which is comment number 2. And I do not believe we received any comment submitted to the e-comment at santaana.org email address, which is then forwarded to the Planning Commission Secretary and us as staff and to you as commissioners.
So in essence, the questions and concerns brought forth by Mr. Jacobson, essentially they were reviewed and incorporated into the negative mitigation plan. Is that what I'm hearing?
The final M&D for the project.
Okay, and we specifically got back to Mr. Jacobson on the basis of his questions and concerns, or is it being interpreted through the input that was revised on the negative mitigation?
It's being interpreted as the responses incorporated as part of the final M&D. We've also exchanged several emails and phone calls with Mr. Jacobson throughout the project. We just did not receive any formal comments submitted during after the public notice was released in comments, and also the comments that he said tonight were mainly in regards to the email not received, and then questions on fencing or preventing vehicles cutting through onto Huron. And so I do not believe that vehicles would be crossing and parking stalls, curbs, and playground equipment to then exit onto Huron Drive and then any other locations in the building. And that's in regards to Mr. Jacobson's comments. I also did want to speak to some of the other comments that were raised. So the first one was Tony. The first one was Tony, and that was in regards to permit parking. I do want to clarify also in regards to Commissioner Garcia, there is no permit parking right now on 16th Street, so that is open for anyone of the public and any residents to park on. The permit parking is only on Huron Drive north of 16th Street, and then portions of Glen Arbor south of 16th Street. So just want to clarify those areas. So 16th is open for parking. And Jake spoke to the stop sign analysis, and then the traffic study. We take into account COVID, and our traffic engineers have been faced with this on other development projects and projects in the city, where they compare most recent traffic data in the area and calculate a percent increase based on our current count to account for what would be reduced just right now with COVID. I think those were the comments that I heard. If there's anything else, I'm happy to clarify.
Let me ask you the question. And I just looking at the layout of the property with regards to the housing, single-family homes to the left, the parking that's along the wall of the single-family homes, there is a wall and fence between the parking and the house, correct?
Yeah, so there is existing fencing along the perimeter of the property between the property and the single-family homes, a block wall.
So there's no wall or fencing from the playground to Westminster. It's open.
It is open. I believe that there is a provision that would allow for a 3 foot fence if we wanted to include that around the playground or along Huron Drive adjacent to the playground. That would be the area that I could potentially foresee them.
Okay, since it's open space at this point in time, do the neighborhoods, the surrounding neighborhood, Huron and 16th and Glenbrow, whatever the street is, do they have access to the playground? Is it an open playground for the neighborhood?
Yes, the specific development was written in a manner that the playground and the picnic area, so which are, sorry, you don't have to, would be remaining accessible to the public during daytime hours.
Okay, so there is accessibility.
Right. The property manager would have to oversee that area and also maintain that area.
What's the open space do we have at this point in time, percentage of open space on this?
The particular playground is 5,000 square feet. That's a playground.
No.
With outdoor playground equipment.
I mean, just besides the playground, including the playground, including any other open balconies, et cetera, and everything else, what's the percentage of open space?
Common open space is 15% of the total lot. So that includes lobbies, interior community rooms, meeting rooms, separate from the private open space balcony.
So it's 15% of, except for with the exception of the private balconies.
Right.
And the minimum requirement is typically 10%.
15%.
15%. So it's at the minimum requirements. Is that correct?
Correct. And it's a specific development, so there is no set standard. That is what we try to do for a multifamily development project.
Right. I'm just looking at it from multifamily. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Selena. Is there any other comments with regards to the public comments that you want to make?
No, not at this time that I heard, but I'd be happy if the commissioners have anything else to answer any other questions.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any final questions at this point in time? Commissioner Calderon?
No questions.
Commissioner Garcia?
And nothing further. Thanks.
Commissioner Morrissey?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Commissioner Nguyen?
No, thank you. Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Do we have, at this point in time, since there's no further questions or concerns, is there a motion that one would like to make at this point?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Morrissey.
Motion to approve environmental review number 2020-48, general plan amendment number 2020-07, and amendment application number 2020-05. With also like to add conditions to conduct a warrant study for traffic control at 216 and the applicant gain concurrence with staff on further development of the detailed scale of architectural elements along Westminster, and it will be returned to the Planning Commission for approval.
So you're asking that to come back to the Planning Commission? So you're requesting...
I think it's important to move the project forward without the Planning Commission. I'm just asking if they work with staff to just develop that.
Work with staff.
Yeah.
Work with staff. I got you. Okay. All right. So that's the motion.
Tight time frame. So I think I want to include that.
Right. Understand. Agree.
Steven.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Madam Secretary, do we know what's going on?
Yeah, it's. We're trying to see.
Can we mute that? Can we mute that?
Yes, we have muted them. Commissioner Morrissey, I'm sorry, when you were adding your conditions, your phone did go out for a brief couple of seconds. Can you please, for the record, state both conditions that you would like to add to this item?
Okay, thank you. The first is conduct a warrant study for traffic control at Huron and 16th and Fairview and 16th. Okay, so we had a concern with Chairman?
Yeah.
16th. Okay, yep. And applicants gain concurrence with staff to further develop detail and scale of architectural elements on
return to planning commission for approval, no concurrence is an issue. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a second to Commissioner Morrissey's motion? I second. Was that you, Ken? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Ken Nguyen, you made a second. Thank you. Any further comments, conversations, or questions at this point in time? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Roll call vote. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen.
Aye.
Vice Chair
She's
Contreras-Leo.
no
I'm sorry.
longer- she's
Yes,
not here to-
you're right. And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 with Vice Chair Contreras-Leo absent.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate everybody putting forth their presentation from the applicant, and look forward to, I mean, obviously the city is in a need for projects of this nature, and this is seemingly a good site. Look forward to working with Mercy House and Larry Haynes and his group. Thank you for that, and good luck. With that said, we will close the business at this point in time, and we'll move to administrative matters. We have on here to elect a representative to the Historic Resource Commission. At this point in time, I'd like to make a motion that we would essentially continue this item until January. Is there a second on that? I'll second. Okay. And Madam Secretary, do we need a roll call vote on this?
Yes, please. Commissioner Calderon.
Aye.
Commissioner Garcia.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrissey.
Aye.
Commissioner Nguyen.
Aye.
And Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 with Vice Chair Contreras-Leo absent.
Okay, thank you. And that will conclude the business calendar. Let's move on to comments. We'll start with staff comments first.
Thank you, Chair McLaughlin. I'd like to begin by saying welcome to Commissioner Calderon, and I look forward to working with you on the Planning Commission. The second item I'd like to share tonight is that this will be the last meeting that our Planning Manager Vincent Coulter, as well as our attorney, Mr. Historically Beautiful, as you mentioned, staff days and after retirement. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to both Vince and Rita, and I want to thank them for all of their support and assistance over the years and their services to the city, and stay good luck on their future endeavor. And retirement is it's a good thing, so I want to congratulate them as well. They will be missed as we move forward. So with that, I want to just conclude by saying thank you to both for their service to the city. This is also the last meeting of the year for us as well. So I want to wish the Planning Commission as well as the staff a happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. There is one last matter as to the next adjourned meeting. On the agenda, it indicates the next adjourned meeting is moved until the 25th of January. I request that the City Commission adjourn to January 11th as we do potentially have an item for that date, so you can consider adjourning to January 11th. I'll be able to address the items at that time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other staff comments at this point in time?
Mr. Chairman, Vince Fagoso, just again, it's been a wonderful experience working with all of you. I truly appreciate it. and you'll all be missed. And happy holidays to you as well. And I will see you all on the golf course. Thank you.
There you go.
Commissioners, this is Lisa Stewart. I wanted to thank you all. It's been a real pleasure working with all of you, and your commitment to the community and your public service is much appreciated, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, Allie, do you have anything to say?
No, just happy holidays to all. Happy New Year. Thanks for all your work this year, and that's it.
Okay. And any other staff comments at this point? Okay. Commissioner Calderon, any comments?
Sure. I just want to say thank you, everybody. It was really nice working with everybody. I look forward to the future, working with everybody, city staff also. And happy holidays. Everybody be safe. Just came out of COVID, so if you haven't gotten it, please don't. So be safe out there, everybody. Protect your families and protect yourself. That's it.
Thank you, Miguel. Welcome aboard. Commissioner Garcia.
Yes, just welcome Commissioner Calderon, and congratulations again to Vince and Lisa, and happy holidays to everybody. I echo Commissioner Calderon's statement that everybody be careful. It's a little crazy out there right now, so be very careful and be safe.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Marcy.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to welcome Commissioner Calderon. Look forward to working with you. And congratulations to both Lisa and Vince on their retirement. It's been a pleasure working with you as well. And I'd just like to say a very happy holidays to everybody. Be safe out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Nguyen.
I also would like to welcome Commissioner Calderon. This will be my last meeting with a member of Santa Ana Planning Commissioner. It's also ending my 15 years serving as City of Santa Ana, 12 years Park Recreation Commission and Brilliant Planning Commissioner. So I'll be serving liaison between Vietnamese American community and with the City of Santa Ana. We now have Councilman Tai Phan, a newly elected Vietnamese American to Santa Ana City Council. I'm firmly confident that Councilman Tai Phan will effectively serve our city as well effectively represent the Vietnamese American community with the City of Santa Ana. It has been my great privilege and great pleasure to serve the City of Santa Ana with every one of you as member of Planning Commissioner. I'm grateful for that. Thank God city staff for your value support, especially thanks to Vince and Lisa. Best wishes to both of you. Last but not least, I would like to thank Chairman McLaughlin for being a great leader. I am enjoying working with all of you. It has been an incredible experience serving in the Planning Commissioner, and that all because of every one of you. You are a fabulous team, and it's been an absolute delight to work with you. I wish all of you have Merry Christmas. Best wishes to you and your family for the health, happiness in the coming year.
Thank you, Ken. Okay, where do we start? First of all, I guess I'll start out by saying, Miguel, again, it's a pleasure to have you on board with the Planning Commission. Hopefully, you'll enjoy what we do and support the efforts of the general plan throughout the next couple of years with regards to Planning Commission. Ken, thank you very much for all your service, and thank you for all your support. And you really have been an asset to our team. And I know it's been a long time working with the city, but there'll be other opportunities, I'm sure, that will come along. And you've done a great job working with everybody in the community, both the Vietnamese community and the rest of the community of Santa Ana. But thank you for your support. Vince, you're going to be missed. I mean, you're a cornerstone of this organization. You've been here. You've been through a lot, and you've seen a lot of change, and you've seen a lot of good things happen, and you've made a lot of good things happen. We thank you for that, and yes, we'll get out on the golf course with you for sure. There's no doubt about that. And Lisa, hopefully you'll get that new computer before you leave. But if not,
I'm not counting on it.
but we do appreciate all you've done to keep, like I said in the past, keep us out of trouble. You know, we tend to do some things that may not make sense, but then, you know, with your guidance, we've been able to navigate through the different avenues and navigate where we get to and come up with some good solutions to some of the issues we've had on our plate over the years. And we thank you for that, and we thank you for your service, both you and Vince, for your service with Santa Ana. I do want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a safe holidays. I mean, it seems like everybody, like Miguel said, has gone through a little bit of the COVID, and we need to do things to protect ourselves, and hopefully we are doing those things, and we appreciate everybody having a safe and good holiday. With that said, I would like to adjourn this meeting to January 11th, 2021, and enjoy your holidays, enjoy the new year, and thank you for your service this year, and thank you for your service over the last couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night.